Good morning, and welcome to the second day of what I am going to be calling the Acting Outside the Box series. I touched on my overall goal at times, which is to act outside the box, to do things differently, to be creative, to go where on the less traveled road. I will talk about the fact that I have published One Summer Season, a young man's brutal baptism into love and baseball on Smashwords. And I will talk about the fact that it is sports fiction, which is acting outside the box. If you take a look through any lists of literary agents, those agents will list the type of stories they are looking for, uh, and the different genres. I have yet to find one that goes, oh, sports fiction. Yeah. Sports nonfiction, yes, because that is much more marketable. You can write a book about Tiger Woods or about Troy Tulowitzki and the Toronto Blue Jays, but there's going to be some pretty instant recognition and monetary gain by doing that. Sports fiction, I have yet to see any literary agent go, oh, yeah, give me that. And then just stop and think of um, books you've seen out there. Sports fiction is not exactly a biggie. The Art of Fielding is one, and one which I read. It's definitely off the hook as far as the standard sports book, but that's one. Okay, guess what? I'm coming out with another. Excuse me here, but my screen just decided to go dark for me to see. Um, but I chose sports fiction because the gist of what One Summer Season is about is a great story, which is not going to get told by using the standard sports nonfiction. Um, I, there are two levels of baseball in which there is a greater jump than at any other level. One is going from the high minors, class AA, class AAA, and go into the major leagues. You have talented younger players who are suddenly being tossed in to the major leagues, which is populated by the best baseball players, some of them iconic skills and results. Um, the other level of which there is this monumental change is going from not being a professional and jumping into professional baseball. We're talking Class A. We're talking Class A short season in which the teams will play 72 games, or at least that's usually the schedule. Um, and that is what One Summer Season is about. My young protagonist, R.W. Clay, a ranch kid from the Dalles, Oregon, which is where I grew up, um, has goes into pro baseball, and it's all about his life and times. I know this kind of life and times because I covered Class A short season baseball. I actually covered the Bend Phillies in the Northwest League, which is actually a step up from the league that RW finds himself in, which is the Pioneer League, which is the very lowest level of which the major league organizations will place their teams. But boy, talk about a monumental change and what these young people have to go through. They're coming out like RW, who is the kind of the hometown hero. He's the big slugger for the Dalles Watonka High School, the Riverhawks. Yeah, I could get into the Dalles, Watonka, Riverhawks, in Eagle Indians thing, but not today. And he is the state player of the year in Oregon, but he's a pretty late round draft choice because he has some serious flaws in his swing, and a lot of scouts don't believe has the wherewithal to be that coachable to turn things around. He gets tossed into a world immediately when he shows up in Grand Junction, Colorado, where he'll be playing his first year, of finding himself with roommates who are much different than RW. RW was raised by a real religious family. This is a kind of kid who was raised with sitting around the living room every evening and studying the Bible. Suddenly, he accepts an offer to join in with a young couple who are living together. Another guy who reportedly drinks an awful lot, and another guy who is very rich, very opinionated, and his main ability seems to be, well, he's a pretty good pitcher, but he also is a chick magnet. So suddenly, here is this kid in brand new circumstances. Trust me, all my characters are fictional, but what RW faces is not unlike certain players or almost any player. I mean, they're going from being hometown heroes, and even though the Pioneer League is down here, it's still a league that's filled with lots of other hometown heroes. There are lots of Hispanic players, Latinos, coming in from the Caribbean and Mexico. You think RW, the branch kid, is going through a change. Well, think of some kid picked up from the Dominican Republic, um, you know, still speaks Spanish, barely knows English, and suddenly he's tossed into a league which takes its teams from western Colorado throughout Utah and into Montana. Yeah, okay, a monumental change. And there are, as I say in the book, there are a few college players that the scouts thought so little of that they tossed them into this gutter of pro ball. Um, it's just this marvelous stuff of storytelling, and I do everything through the eyes of RW and his reactions. It's a great story. It's not going to be told in nonfiction sports. So, guess what? I wrote it as sports fiction. It's a good story. It's a very good story. You follow RW through, as I hint in my title, a brutal baptism into love and baseball. So I hope you take the time to buy it. It's the price is $3.99 on Smashwords. I did get notification that it's going out on other um, other sites. I've been accepted into the Smashwords premium catalog, and so that'll be going out to Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Scripted, Gardner's, which is in England, etc. So, and that price may change. One other thing, I have my coffee. Love it. My snooze cup. For any of you who live in the Denver area, you know snooze. It's worth it. And one addendum to my first video yesterday, in which I talked about pushing my Your Hub reporters at the Denver Post to go after the really meaty story. The only thing I didn't explain was why I did it. I simply wanted them to go out, do a really big story, the kind of story that the main newsroom people would be doing. And in that way, they would show their their props and maybe get a job in the regular newsroom. I had 6 people go from your hub to the regular Denver Post newsroom, online, photo, into sports during my tenure. And for me, that gave me more satisfaction than anything else. And there were a ton of things about heading your hub that I absolutely loved, and they made my heart glad. So tomorrow we're going to get into genres, and once again, this is acting outside the box. So good talking to you. I'm going to go and finish my coffee because it's early in the morning. And you know what? We're going to talk tomorrow, and we're going to talk about genres and why one summer season doesn't, it's more expansive than the standard genre. So we'll talk then. Good seeing ya. Have a good day.